Irving Fryar joins the show. Irving, great to have you on. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am great. I want to get your take as someone who's played the game at a very high level, someone who's played for the Eagles, someone who grew up in the area, in South Jersey, Mount Holly, Rancocas Valley Regional High School grad. Irv, is this just Eagles fans complaining, or do you see a legitimate issue here with the Philadelphia Eagles and the offense?
Well, I think what's happening with the offense, obviously, with the naked eye, whether you played or didn't play, you can see that there is some stagnation there, that it's kind of vanilla, that it's underperforming, particularly when you look at all of the talent that we have on the offensive side of the ball, particularly at the skill positions, the quarterback and the running back and the two wide receivers and the tight end. The Eagles have had, and as you know, the game starts in the trenches. And they've had some issues and still have issues with the front line. When they get that resolved, we seem to have been able to do that. And I say we, but the Eagles seem to have been able to do that a couple of times, a couple of games, Giants game, the Vikings game, but it's been up and down since then. So, yeah, there are definitely some issues. I have a lot of different opinions.
Well, I want to hear them. I mean, what do you think? What do you think the solution is? And obviously, as a receiver, you probably understand and feel A.J. Brown's frustration. I mean, you played in the league 17 years. I'm sure you've had it in the locker room. What do you think the solution is here?
Well, I don't think there is a solution, actually, because the offense starts with the quarterback. Jalen is going to be Jalen. I heard listened to a couple of interviews that he had this past week, and the reporters were asking questions, not trying to provoke him, but trying to get an understanding of where he is psychologically, mentally, in terms of the offense. And when you look at what's happening with the offense, there have been several times I've seen opportunities for Jalen to throw the ball to wide open receivers, and for some reason he just doesn't. My opinion is that, Jalen is really of the mindset that he's not going to turn the ball over. And not turning the ball over means he's not an anticipatory quarterback where routes and the route combinations, if the routes are going over the middle of the field, particularly in a zone defense, he's not going to anticipate that receiver coming into that open area in that zone and throw the ball prior to the receiver making that break. Jalen has to see his receiver open to throw him the ball. And that's, I think, the mindset that he's gravitated towards and lives in, dwells in, because he's determined not to turn the ball over. Last year when they started the season, when Kellen Moore was here, he started off, just trying to chunk that ball into tight areas and ended up with a couple of interceptions. And when they came back from the break last season, he changed. And he's been the same way ever since. And I believe that's a part of why Kevin Patullo has issues in his play calling, because there's certain things that Jalen just will not do. And Kevin has to keep it vanilla, because Jalen's not going to throw the ball in certain areas, particularly when you try to put together a colorful or a more aggressive pass combinations with routes runnings and guys crossing and all of that. Jalen's just not, he's not going to be that guy. The routes are stop routes, they're slant routes, or they're go routes. Easy for him to see, easy for him to address, and easy for him to respond to.
So it sounds like you're saying the problem is more with Jalen Hurts than it is with Kevin Patullo. And Patullo's taken a lot of heat earlier in the season, but it seems to be shifting toward Jalen. Do you think the biggest issue here is with Jalen Hurts?
Well, I don't think it's an issue because he wins.
Well, that's kind of my point. And listen, right. I'm at the game Sunday, and it was an awful game. I'm sorry, it wasn't exciting. And it wasn't a Madden EA Sports video game. but they are
Right.
winning. So the question really becomes, do you believe the Eagles can sustain this success with Jalen Hurts being conservative? And I threw out that stat out there. The Eagles are 40-2 under Nick Sirianni when they win the turnover battle. And you played in this league 17 years. When you win the turnover battle, you're going to win the football game.
9 times out of 10, when you don't turn the ball over, yes, you give yourself a greater chance of becoming victorious in that game. No, it's not sustainable. What the offense is doing right now, and the 3 and outs, and the lack of production, the lack of big plays, explosive plays as they call them. No, I don't think it's sustainable, because I believe in these one at least, maybe 2 of these last 7 games that they're going to play. Obviously, this is the easier part of their schedule. They played the hardest part of their schedule, but in these last 7 games, there's going to come a game where the defense is not going to be pouncing all over the place and producing and stopping the way they have been as of recent. And the offense is going to have to put points on the board. This game against the Dallas Cowboys very well could be that game, because Dallas can score. I don't think they'll score a bunch of points on us, but guess what? We can't go into this game and score 10 points and think that we're going to win.
Well, let's hope not. Because and I don't mean to cut you off, but let's hope not, because the Cowboys' defense is terrible, right? I mean, when you look at where they are, I mean, statistically, they're terrible. But you know better than anybody, you played in it, the NFC East battles are always tough. I don't care how great you are. I don't care how bad you are. These NFC East games are always just brutal.
Yeah. Well, I think we should kind of be concerned if we get into a situation where we have to throw the ball and then it doesn't happen. I think, the way Jalen is carrying himself, the way he's running that offense, the way he does things in his approach, I think when the time comes, if the time comes that we have to throw the ball, to whether we're catching up or whether we're trying to keep up or whether it's a shootout, I think he'll be able to do that because he's done it in the past. So, right now they're winning 10 games. They're 8-2. 11 games into the season, but they're 8-2. They're 10 games they played. Let's see what happens. I'm of the mindset that they're going to keep on winning. Yes, it's not pretty. No, they're not putting up big stats, but he's winning. So I guess you got to leave him alone until it gets to a point to where he has to perform and he doesn't do it. But in the past, when he's had to perform, when he's had to throw that ball, when he's had to get it down the field, when they've had to score points, they've been able to do it.
I guess the concern becomes, does this catch up to the Eagles? And obviously, A.J. Brown has voiced his frustrations. And I don't think anybody specifically is calling anyone out and it's some sort of nasty locker room. But you've been on a lot of teams. You've been in a lot of locker rooms. And there's a lot of personalities and a lot of people making a lot of money and egos. Have you had a point in your career that you can take me back to as a receiver that has played at a high level? Again, the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, 1984, that you were in a locker room on a team where you're not getting the ball and the offense is not clicking. How do you handle that? What is the right way to handle that? How do you navigate that situation when you go, okay, we're winning, but I'm not getting the ball and I don't see this offense going as well as it should be? How do you handle a situation just like that?
Well, I was in a situation not quite exactly the same, but down in Miami, 11 games into the season, we were 9-2. We didn't win a game after that and never made the playoffs. And there began to be some beef in the locker room. There began to be some dissension among the ranks, so to speak. And that just, as we continued to lose games, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I'm glad you bring that up because, here's a team, like you said, I played 17 years in the NFL. I've gone to 1 Super Bowl, got beat real bad in that Super Bowl. In fact, that was the worst defeat in the Super Bowl at that time against the Bears in '85. Never sniffed the Super Bowl after that. I'll never put a uniform on again. I'll never put a helmet on again. I'll never put cleats on again. I'll never catch a ball on an NFL field again. And here is a team that just won the Super Bowl in 2025. They're defending champs, whether they want to admit it or not. And they have an opportunity with all this talent to legitimately get back to the Super Bowl this year and repeat. And here there is all of this dissension. Here it is, a civil war going on in the locker room. I don't think they understand the opportunity that they have and how blessed they are. And it's very, very disappointing to me, because I would give, you know what I would give to have a Super Bowl ring? Just one. Have a Super Bowl ring and then have an opportunity to play with these great athletes, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, Lane Johnson, Landon Dick. These are great, great athletes, great Philadelphia football players, and there's beef going on in the locker room. It just behooves me. I can't understand it. They just don't see how grand this opportunity is and how blessed they are.
And from the sound of it, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. It sounds like it's a little overblown. And like I said, you grew up here, you know the drama in this city over this football team. And I try to think about it and I go, can we just take a step back? This is the greatest run of Eagles football we've ever seen. And look, when you go into the season, you're probably thinking the defense is going to be a mess because they lost so many key players, two big guys on the defensive line. You lost guys in the secondary, and you watch the way this defense has played, shutting down the Packers, shutting down the Lions. I don't know what I'm more surprised at, the defense playing to this level or the offense playing to this level.
Well, that's just a testament to defensively to Vic Fangio and his ability to coach and recognize talent. You know, he was down there in Miami a couple of years ago and was not getting any cooperation from the young players because Vic is somewhat of an old school coach. But guess what? He comes to Philadelphia, and in one season, one off season, and one season goes to the Super Bowl and has the best defense in the doggone league. So that's a testament to who he is. And, you know, Zach Bond, you know, never played that position the way he's playing it now. And he's an all-pro, and he brings in, you know, Jalen Phillips, and he's all over the place. You know, that's Vic Fangio. It's Vic Fangio, and he's done a phenomenal job. Like I said, though, what the offense is doing is not sustainable. They're going to, at some point, have to throw the ball down the field, score more than 10 points, more than 7 points, 16 points in a game to win that particular game. I think they'll be able to do it because they've done it in the past. I mean, look at the Super Bowl last year. The Chiefs took away the run. Saquon was ineffective in that game. We had to throw the ball. Jalen did it, and did it at a very, very high level. So he can turn it on when he needs to and get that ball down the field into the hands of his big playmakers.
Yeah, and look, his deep ball has not looked great at times, obviously Sunday, but look, the wind was a factor. Jared Goff, who's one of the most accurate passers in the league, he did not look good either. And, you know, the conditions had to be a factor, and some guys just have off nights. But when I do look at this football team and I look at Jalen Hurts, I mean, Wilbur Montgomery told me last year, same with Jeremiah Trotter and even Nick Sirianni, that Jalen Hurts has one of the best deep balls in football. Now, I don't think we've seen that this year per se, but it is there. And in some ways, I think it's a good thing that we have not seen this team play to its capability because, as you know, you don't want to be playing your best football right now. You want to be playing your best football at the end of the season, especially the way this team is positioned. This team is positioned to win back-to-back Super Bowls and certainly the favorite to come out of the NFC. So, you know, what would you like to see from the Eagles offense Sunday in Dallas tomorrow? Obviously, the Cowboys defense, when I look at these numbers, I'm looking at it, they have the 30th ranked defense and the 30th pass defense in football. I mean, they should really be able to take advantage of this, assuming that the offensive line, without Lane Johnson, potentially without Cam Jurgens, can give Jalen Hurts some time in the pocket.
Well, what I would like to see in this particular game, because they're playing against a defense that is, you know, not very good at all, I would like to see the offense sustain drives, not have so many 3 and outs. You know, the Eagles are number one, which is not a good number one. They have the most 3 and outs offensively out of any team in the NFL right now. I would like to see a sustained drive, 10 plays, 12 plays, and go down and finish and score touchdowns, not kick field goals. There was a drive, I think it was their 11th drive last week. It was 22 plays, and I think they went 25 yards. it was like 2.2 yards per play. They ended up kicking a field goal, but it was ridiculous, ridiculous. So some explosive plays would be nice to see as well. You know, something over 15 yards, whether it's a pass play, whether it's a run play. And I like to see also a few more RPOs. You know, Jalen Hurts has a 75% completion rate running the RPOs. So, and I know they're not doing it as much as they used to because they don't want to, you know, they want to make sure to protect Jalen and not get him hurt. But man, the RPO is like an extra man for the offense. It makes that defensive end stand still. He's got to stay there to see what's going to happen, whether he's going to hand that ball off to Saquon or whether he's going to keep it and run it himself. So it's an addition to the offense that really becomes effective. Play action, you can run play action off the RPO. So I like to see them do that a little bit more as well, because they've kind of gotten away from that.
So how do you think this plays out tomorrow? If you can give me a prediction, Eagles, Cowboys, we saw what the Eagles did in the opener, beating them by 4. Eagles surprisingly only a 3-point favorites in this one. Again, we talk about that NFC East battle. Can you give me a prediction tomorrow? I know we want to see out of the offense, but give me a prediction tomorrow what you believe is going to go down in Big D.
Well, first of all, Cowboys suck. Okay. First of all, the Cowboys suck.
That's just putting it very nicely, right?
Yeah.
Or bluntly.
I just want to make sure I get that out there. Everybody knows where I stand when it comes to the Cowboys.
So you're saying you don't like the Cowboys?
Nah. Well, you know what? Anybody who's played in the NFL and did not play for the Cowboys doesn't like the Cowboys.
But it is interesting because it does feel like the Cowboys-Eagles rivalry has kind of died down the last few years.
Well, because they suck. They haven't done anything, so there's not really a big competition.
Well, that's a good point. So it's fair to say that the Eagles are going to win tomorrow. You like the Eagles?
Yes, I do like the Eagles. Again, I think this game could be that game where Jalen and the offense has to get going in terms of being creative and getting the ball down the field and running RPOs and scoring points. I believe the Eagles are going to have to score at least 21 points in this game to win this game. I don't believe our defense, although Dak and that, you know, you got Pickens and you got CeeDee Lamb, they're balling. They're doing very well. Dallas did pick up a couple of defensive players, Williams, and I believe a couple of the starters in the secondary are back. So they're a little more solid than they've been in the past. They're feeling good about themselves after beating the lowly Raiders. But I think we can hold them. I personally think our defense can hold the Dallas Cowboys to 17 points. So 21-17 is my game analysis score.
I'm really hoping they score more than 20 points because you know what the conversation is going to be on the back end is that they still have not been able to score at a high level. And I am shocked. I mean, when I look at where the Eagles are offensively, again, 25th overall in offense, 28th in passing defense. But again, Jalen Hurts, best touchdown to interception ratio in the league. They've been fantastic as far as in the win column. They beat the Lions and the Packers. And, It is hard to believe that we're even talking about this because you would just think that it's going to feel like a video game this season. You saw what they did against the Chiefs, and it was just going to be soaring. The Eagles are going to be soaring this year. You know, it's been this painful existence with the Eagles.
Yeah, but, I mean, like you said, they've gone to Tampa Bay. When the last time we beat Tampa Bay? We were struggling going down to beat Tampa. They beat Tampa Bay and Tampa this year. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Lions. They beat all the teams. That Green Bay, they've won. They've beaten all those teams. No, they didn't score a whole bunch of points. But guess what? They held Green Bay to 7 points. They held the Lions to 9 points. That's the hardest part of their schedule. Winning is what's most important. Winning is what's most important. I promise you, if they keep winning the way they are, which is people are saying barely winning or winning ugly games or not being explosive offensively, but they're still winning because you only got to win by 1. And they go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl that way. I'm sure when everybody's at the parade, nobody's going to mention how they won the Super Bowl.
I agree with you. And that's kind of my whole point at the top of the show, which is this is the best run the Eagles have ever had. Can we just enjoy it? And I know it's hard because the players, the fans, they see that potential, and you just go, oh my goodness, can we just go flying? But I always go, do you remember the last time the Eagles had the number one offense in football? Do you even care? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they have the best offense in football and they look like a video game. I remember some of those Michael Vick years and the Donovan years and LaShawn and Shady, and you're like, wow, this is incredible what Deshaun and LaShawn are doing.
Right.
And you're like, you didn't win at the end of the day. And so who cares? And listen, I'm sure you see the game from a very unique lens, and maybe you're yelling at the TV like Eagles fans are on Sundays and Mondays, and coming up on a Friday game, even coming up on Black Friday. But I get it, but I just try to say, can we just enjoy this? And I get it, the players, they want to be at their best, and you see the potential, but can we just enjoy this for a second, please? I mean, it's the greatest run in Eagles history they've ever had. You've won 2 Super Bowls in 9 years.
Yeah, and when you look at all of the Philly sports, you know, whether it's hockey, basketball, I mean, the basketball team's doing all right now, but the Phillies, you know, the Eagles have given the most pleasure to the fans over the last 7 years.
But it doesn't feel that way. No, but I know, but it doesn't feel that way.
No, it doesn't feel that way, but that's because we keep stirring the pot. You're not sitting back and enjoying it. We're kind of, you know, we have a win, but then we want to pick apart what we didn't like about that win. What do you mean? I thought the object of the game is to win.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah,
and I'm with you. I'm with you.
You're trying to get better. You're trying to improve. That's why we watch film. That's why we come in to try to change or correct any mistakes that may have happened, or missed assignments, or lack of effort, or anything like that from week to week. You want to improve in those areas, of course. But the bottom line for everything is winning. And yes, I'm the same way as everybody else. Whether I played before, whether I didn't play before, to me, I'm looking at this roster on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, why aren't we scoring every time we have an offensive possession? To me, that's what I think we should be doing. We should be scoring every time we have an offensive possession, because no defense can put together enough talent on defense or a good enough scheme to stop A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert. Come on. You can't stop those guys. You can't. Look at what Kellen Moore did last season with that offense. I mean, yes, the foundation of it was running the ball, which just set up everything else. And they just kind of did whatever it is they wanted to do whenever it needed to be done last year.
Yeah,
because the foundation was great.
Yeah, but what I do like about this team, Irving, as we're talking to Irving Fryar, former Eagles star and #1 overall pick in 1984, 5-time Pro Bowler. Last thing for you is that what is special to me about this team, they have won games in a different fashion. They've won it with defense. Right. They've won it with offense. They've been able to drive down the field when needed. You hit on that earlier. This team finds ways to win in all sorts of categories, all sorts of ways, and to me, that's a sign of a complete team. I don't care so much the stats and the way it looks, and yes, it feels like a struggle, but they are winning.
And that's good for the team, for the players on the Eagles, so that whatever any scenario they may come up against, whatever the situation may be in terms of time on the clock or field position, they know they have the confidence that we can win this game. And it's also a message that's sent to the rest of the league, other teams. You better not sleep on the Eagles. They know that already, but they know that at any given point, listen, they can make a comeback, they can make it happen, they're not going to give up. They've won ugly games. It may look bad, but they'll come through. It sends a message not just to the league, but I guess, again, it's a confidence builder for the guys on the team.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Irving Fryar, former Eagles receiver, we appreciate you so much joining us. Great insight, talking about the A.J. Brown situation, the Jalen Hurts, his offense, the frustration.
We didn't talk about A.J. Brown. We didn't get to that.
Well, you talked about it a little bit, right? I mean, all right, so give me a final point. A.J. Brown, what are you seeing there?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who are saying A.J. lost a step. There's a lot of people who are saying, and I agree with this point, well, he wants the ball. There have been times that, he gave up on the pass and didn't put enough effort or energy into it. And I agree with that. I've seen that. And that's what it looks like, because yeah, if you're hollering for the ball and you're requesting the ball and you're reading books on the sideline and you're giving cryptic messages on social media, you got to be tight when you're game. You got to be 100% with your game, and he hasn't been. But my opinion is that he's hurt. I believe he's struggling with that hamstring. Yeah, because I've been in the same situation. My 3rd year in Philadelphia, it was said the same thing about me. Oh, he lost a step. He doesn't have it anymore. Well, I was playing with a broken big toe. I never told anybody. Nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody, and the reason I didn't tell anybody was because I was a little bit older. I was 34 years old at the time, and they were ready to put older guys out of the league. They're ready to cut you. So I played that whole year. I broke my toe, my big toe, the 2nd game of the season, and I got it shot up every week, and I didn't tell anybody that it was broken. And A.J. Brown had a hamstring problem last season at the end of the season, missed a few games, comes back in training camp. Training camp ain't that hard. It's not that hard. He missed some days in training camp because of the hamstring. And then a couple of weeks ago, he missed a game or 2 because of the same hamstring. He's not healthy. That's why he's not moving the way we've seen him move and doing the things that he's done in the past. Jumping and running over guys and being real strong and being real aggressive. He's not healthy. That's what's going on with him.
That's a really, really, really great take and really great observation, because maybe that is the case. And when he was asked about it this week, about, maybe losing a step or something going on, he's like, well, maybe Saquon did as well, because Saquon has not played up to that level. So that is a great point, and maybe that is the case. At the end of the day, I still keep going back to the Eagles are winning. Could it be better? Yes. Hopefully the best is yet to come with this offense, and they can go on this magical run that everyone believes this team is capable of doing. Well, Irving Fryar, we appreciate you joining us. 5-time Pro Bowler, former Eagles receiver. We appreciate you joining us here on Bet Parks Saturday live from the Sportsbook at the Parks Casino. Irv, thank you so much for the great insight.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for thinking about me, brother.
Absolutely. Great having you. Eagles, Cowboys tomorrow.